Whiskey tubers have strong opinions on certain overrated bottles. Let's see if I agree with this whiskey tuber.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back to That Bourbon Dude. My name is Charles. Today we are going to be taking a look at Patrick from the Whiskey Cove's recent video of what bottles he thinks are overrated. I'm going to give you my opinion on it. I'm going to tell you if I agree with his comments on it. Do I think what he said is overrated? We'll find out. We'll find out if he and I agree. I kind of feel like we have similar palates. Patrick is a good friend of mine, and yeah, we're going to find out how he likes this video. So here we go. I'm going to be sipping on a little Knob Creek 9. This is probably one of my favorite budget pours. 9-year age stated, 100 proof, inexpensive, and tasty. All right, folks, let's get into it. All right, here we go.
All right then, folks, thank you for joining us for another new and exciting episode here on the Whiskey Cove, where we will be talking about 7 of the most overrated whiskies, in my opinion, that you can probably get or that are available on the market right now. So this isn't a list that I tend to like to do. I don't necessarily want to bash on whiskeys or distilleries. However, I feel like I have pretty good reasons of why I feel like these whiskeys are overrated.
So I personally don't mind to say if I do or don't like a specific product. I don't feel like it's me bashing on them. It's just me giving constructive criticism. And if you don't feedback to them and let them know what you do and don't like, then how are they going to be able to put forth better products going forward to be able to help you have a better product?
That being said, we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. If you would like to win an Old Rip 10-year or 5 other awesome bottles, then you have to be a subscriber. And then after this video, go down below in the description and then submit your ticket. We will do a 10,000 live stream. You don't have to be on the live stream to win. You just need to make sure you submit your ticket. Please only submit one, and please just make sure.
I don't want anybody else giving away a Rip 10. That's pretty generous of the guy. Make sure that you're a subscriber and entered in on that. I need to get on that. Maybe I'm slacking. If you're not in it, you need to be.
You're a subscriber, because we will have to check. With that being said, let's talk overrated whiskey. And bottle number 1, of course, is one of the most overrated whiskeys here at the Whiskey Cove. It is Caribou Crossing. Caribou Crossing probably runs around $70 or so. I think.
All right, Caribou Crossing is kind of a hard bottle to come by around here, but it is probably the least favorite of all of the products from that lineup that I've ever had. It's just barely water mixed with like a couple drops of freaking whiskey. It's just not good.
That's about $60. Too much, in my opinion. When I was up in Canada, I sold these for like $100. So that's quite expensive for what this is.
I wonder if that was USD or Canadian dollars, because the exchange is pretty crappy for them.
Some people say that it's the Canadian Blantons. Looks a little like that, and it has that stopper on the top, which is probably where it gets that name from. This is made by Sazerac, and quite frankly, tastes like paint stripper.
Yeah, I totally agree. Paint stripper is a very accurate analysis of that. That stuff is garbage.
It's just budget Canadian, like bottom shelf stuff. We're talking benchmark level stuff, and that's maybe a knock on Benchmark, truth be told.
Okay, I don't agree. I think Benchmark is pretty solid. Now, Benchmark 8, maybe hot trash, but everything else, especially the full proof and that top floor, pretty solid. I can't really complain about it. I don't know if I agree that I would put it in the category with Benchmark.
It does come in this nice bottle, and the stopper is pretty cool, but it's just not a bottle that you should be chasing, not a bottle that you should pay your hard-earned money for. And that's why Caribou Crossing is bottle number 1 on this list as some of the most overrated whiskey that you can get. It's just not worth the money. That is definitely marketing.
Yeah, I think he comes out swinging. That's definitely a bottle that I can agree with. That is completely overrated, overpriced. Bottle looks cool, but it tastes like ass.
over quality. So the next bottle on this list is also maybe a bit of a controversial one, and that is 13th Colony Cask Strength Southern Bourbon.
All right, I know that everybody's going to be freaking furious about this because there's a lot of 13 Colony fanboys out there right now. I happen to be kind of a fanboy, but only on a certain couple of products. I like their cask strength stuff, obviously the double oak, and then recently I had a store pick of a rye cask strength rye. It was like 130 proof, pretty awesome. Now the basic stuff is pretty basic, so let's get back into it.
Whiskey. So why I think this is overrated, I think it leans into the price again. This is about $90 here in Colorado. And I know that some folks out there say that it's only ever distilled in Georgia. Well, I believe that's not the case. I believe that they do also source from MGP, from I'm aware of, just to meet the demands of the consumer right now. I will say that the double oaked one of this is phenomenal, but I think just the cask strength version, at least the ones that we have here in Colorado that might have a bit of a blend to them, I think that they're just kind of more of the same kind of MGP feeling whiskey, and you can probably get the same type of whiskey from MGP under a different brand for like 50.
I think he's correct. If they actually are sourcing some of this from MGP, there are several different labels that you can get this much cheaper and easier to find than this cask strength 13 Colony.
$90. I don't really think this is worth the $85, $90 at all. I'd rather get Still Austin cask strength or something like that. I also dislike the bottle size because it doesn't quite fit on my shelf. ABV for this is 60.32% and 120 proof. As you can see, I've got through quite a decent chunk of it, so I think my opinion can be validated a little bit by that. Not worth the money. I think it's probably a bit overpriced because where 13th Colony really...
Yeah, I think he's correct with the overpricing. If it would have came in at like the $65 price point for that, I believe we would have been much better off, but their expenses are probably quite high if they're sourcing such products.
Shines is some of the limited edition offerings, like the double oaked, or like the double oaked rye as well, or toasted rye, and some of the other kind of limited offerings. However, I feel like for this, for $90, it's just a little bit adjunct and kind of a little bit overrated in my humble opinion. So I would take a pass on this. Next.
All right, totally agree with that one. Maybe not on how it tastes, because it tastes okay, but it doesn't taste okay for $90. It, like I said, it would probably be better off if it was like a $65 bottle. So we'll give him a pass on that one.
Next up, and as a big Barton fan and 1792 fan, it pains me to say that I do not like this bottle of whiskey, the 1792 full proof.
Okay, I don't think we're friends anymore, Patrick. That's one of my favorite bottles, especially a good store pick. Maybe he just got a bad pick. I don't know. Let's hear him out. Let's see what kind of craziness he's going to say about it.
Yes, this is a single barrel pick, but I've had a few different offerings from the full proof single barrels, and just
if he says it's just a little too hot, I'm going to be disappointed.
The regular full proof bottle, and there's just something about them that I just don't jive with. I think it comes across so hot. You know, a lot of...
I'm very disappointed. I like that spiciness. I like when you drink a 1792 full proof that you know what the heck you've just got into. There's no mistaking that flavor.
These cask strength bourbons can have really high ABV, but they can have a really nice balance and sweetness to them, which palates that out a little bit. But with this, you could stick this in your car and you would just be able to drive because it kind of noses a little bit like rocket fuel. It can be really harsh and there's just so much ABV.
Maybe I relate to this bottle so much because I'm a little harsh and rough around the edges.
Proof that kind of comes through and kind of punches you in the mouth a little bit there. And I've had this bottle for, I think this one specifically, for 2 years. I'll go back to it and have a sip every now and again just to see if it's changed and kind of just sat down a little bit. That never happens. Like I said, it's just like rocket fuel and it's wild how hot it is. And like I said, I really like Barton, and that is the only stuff that I don't like from them.
Okay, so I guess maybe I don't agree with that one because I really do like that bottle, and I like it literally for the reasons that he doesn't like it. So that's pretty interesting.
Just because it's just too hot. 50% ABV, 100 proof. They knock it out of the park every time. The aged 12 years, the single barrel, sweet wheat, bottled in bond, just phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. However, they missed a little on that one. Next up from the Jim Beam Distillery, that is Old Overhaul Cask Strength, aged 11 years.
Oh yeah, this right here, this was hot garbage for me. And then I just saw the label was approved for the 12 year, so let's see how bad that one is.
So paid about $110 or so from this from the distillery, and I've kind of been pretty heavily disappointed by it. I wouldn't say this is too highly rated. I think you might be able to get this from the distillery still, but for $110, doesn't make sense for me. I think much like the old Grandad 16, I think the branding didn't meet the price tag, and I think that the labeling this as a $110 whiskey is just yeah, it just doesn't.
With the fact that it's probably the exact same mash bill as the Knob Creek 10-year rye, and this only has one more year on it, and then you can get some really good Knob Creek picks, 115 proof. I think my local store sells them for like in the $60 range. So if I was going to pick up something like that, it would probably be that Knob Creek over this.
Makes sense for me whatsoever. Too much kind of really heavy licorice and dusty rolled rye notes in this, like an old loaf of rye bread they forgot about and kind of left it for a while and came.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty rye forward, and the dustiness definitely comes through quite prevalent. Not my favorite bottle.
Back to it. This is coming in at a modest 53.7% ABV or 107.4 proof. It just doesn't live up. It's just super overrated. It just doesn't live up to the standard that it set itself for $110. The next.
Yeah, I totally agree. That one does not live up. The price is too high and the quality is too low.
Bottle is these Woodford Reserve pint-sized bottles. So I'm not saying that like some specific ones are worse than others, which they are, but some are also better than others, like the double oaked. But I think what you're getting for around like $70 is not worth it. It's super overrated. Like this.
Yeah, since the price kept creeping up on these, I truly don't think they're worth it anymore. And personally, I will not be picking up another one of the 375s of the Woodfords. It just the price and then the quality just doesn't match for me.
Blended malt is awful. It's not a good whiskey whatsoever. Yeah, and that's from someone who likes a lot of what Brown-Forman and Woodford put out. But I think that these pint-sized bottles are just super overrated. They have them at the distillery because I think that they just want consumers to buy something there. But it just doesn't taste like any of the best stuff that they do. Every now and again, they'll have one that catches my eye, and people might talk really positive.
So talking about some of them that like actually do live up to it, a couple maybe last year or the year before, the double was incredible, and then fast tracked to now that they've moved the double into the 700 ml bottle, it is not good. I'm very disappointed. I paid like $207 out the door for mine. I was not happy, and this just is another example of Woodford price and stuff just to a point where you can't enjoy it anymore.
Positively about, but I think across everything, and when you take everything into account, I just think that these pint-sized bottles they sell at the distillery are really overrated, and this blended malt was some of the worst stuff that I've had in 2024. Although we didn't do worst whiskeys of 2024, like I said, I don't really like to do these lists, but I thought it was time to kind of do them roundabout now just for you folks to enjoy, because you're always asking me what are overrated whiskeys, so that's why I curated this list for you. 2 bottles left, and we have Elmer T. Lee.
Oh, this is just going to really piss off everybody. There's so many Elmer T. Lee fanboys that live and die by this bottle. Let's see what he says about it.
I've been quite vocal about Elmer T. Lee on the Whiskey Cove because it's not worth the crazy amounts of money that people are willing to pay for it for whatever reason. I generally believe, and we've done a blind here on the Whiskey Cove, that the Buffalo Trace single barrels are head and shoulders above these Elmer T. Lees.
100% agree. I've done the same exact blind. I was convinced that the Elmer T. Lee was going to be sweeter, and then I was going to be able to tell which one was which, and I absolutely could not. figure out which one the Elmer T. Lee was, and the single barrel Buffalo Trace come out ahead in multiple different blinds over a period of time.
It just noses so flat. It's like a diluted Buffalo Trace. It's like someone added a little bit of water to it, swirled it around a little bit, and they nose it. There's really not much going on in the bottle, and why people pay like $200 for these is anyone's guess. I think now they're actually even starting to put them out at the distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky, at Buffalo Trace. So
He is correct. If you guys have not seen, they've been dropping some crazy bottles over at the distillery, and it gives everybody a little bit a better chance of grabbing something special while they're here in Kentucky on the Bourbon Trail.
might be able to get them there for like $50, I think they might be, and I think even that price is probably a little bit too much.
So back when I was still able to get an Elmer T. Lee like once or twice a year for like the, I think I'm paying like 32 or $36 for it. I felt like at that price it was good, but since it's crap up, I haven't bought one since it's hit the $50 point on the SRPs. I stay away from it.
Stick to the Buffalo Trace store picks if you can find them for around $30, and I think they will knock this out of the park every day of the week. This is probably one of the most overrated on this list, if not the most overrated. Next up, we have my old friend.
Oh boy. A lot of the bookers getting a lot of hate these days. I just think the inconsistency in the product and the price point, again, is really affecting this brand.
And Bookers. So, love Jim Beam. Jim Beam was the first distillery I really got into when I was living in the UK. However, since I came on to the US, I must have bought about 5 or 6 of these Bookers, and I've only had one that I really liked, and that was the one last year. That was the Reserve, and that was absolutely phenomenal. They did a great job with that, but that was even more expensive. Again, you had to pay a little bit extra for that, and it was like around $150, where the regular Booker sits around $100. So is it technically a Booker's, or is it another special release from Jim Beam? I would kind of separate that from the regular offerings that you get from Booker's. I know there are a lot of Booker's fans out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with him. I think the Reserve is just a head and shoulders above like the standard Bookers, like just the I don't know, just the everyday offering that you can get, you know, the just the normal one we put out 4 times a year, or they put out 4 times a year, absolutely just does not hit for me. I think the last batch that was good for me was the Charlie's batch. And then I did try the Reserve. I thought it was okay, but I didn't feel like it really hit all the points that I think it should have, especially for that price.
Out there, but for me, I think the pricing and for like where you get like 6 to 7 year old whiskey, yeah, it doesn't quite add up. And like I said, I have 3 regular Bookers right now open. I don't like any of them, and I've had them. This one, for example, this is 2021, and it's still 3/4 the way full. And that's the same for every one that I have here. I just haven't been enjoying them enough to drink them, and that's why I think that they're generally pretty overrated. You strip them back, you take the box away. You take the label off, peel the wax back, and you just have the bottle on its own. It's like a $50 bottle, in my opinion. It was probably closer to that point.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree. $55 for sure if you take away all the branding. I think if they will do away with all the packaging, it would be a better buy for the customer and get it at a better value, better price point. I just don't think that everything they got going on with that low age of product that's in there and that price point, and where I didn't agree with him on the 1792 being too hot, I feel like the Booker's is just a little too spicy.
Point, 10 years or so ago. Yes, I know prices and inflation, it's not 2015 anymore. However, the quality just isn't there enough for you to be charging $100 to $120 on these Bookers, in my opinion, these days. So although that they did a really good one last year, the Reserves, I felt like that was just a specialty bottle, and it could have or could not have carried the Booker's label for whatever reason, because it was like more expensive. With that being said, those were 7 overrated whiskeys in my.
All right, folks, what do y'all think? Do you think that he was correct on his overrated bottles? There's a couple that I would love to add to it, but I'll save that for a video. If you guys agree with his overrated bottles, go ahead, drop them in the comments below. Obviously, if you're seeing this and you saw the amazing giveaway that's going to be happening on his channel, I personally am going to go ahead and enter in that giveaway for the chance to win an old rip. That's awesome, and it looks like he's going to be adding additional bottles as he creeps up closer to that 10,000 subscriber point. That's pretty awesome. If you guys have any suggestions on videos you guys would like for me to react to, drop them in the comments. Let me know. Email is in the description, and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe this video. And until next time, Bourbon Dude out.